Hi everyone, my name is Monique Apodaca, and this is my EDL 856 Module 12 case study for School and Community Relations. And the name of this assignment is A New Role for the Parents Organization. So let's break down some facts. Summarizing the case module. What has happened? Well, first, the PTA has been formed that discontinued their affiliation with the national PTA group. Just analyzing that alone is a little bit dangerous because they are not held accountable to anybody, at least a whole national organization. Second, PTA wants to be more involved with their children's educations, so they want to know what is happening in the classroom, as opposed to just once in a while, a back-to-school night, a parent conference, the normalcy of what parents see their teachers and the classrooms. Third, the PTA wants teachers to present meetings, each relating to their courses, and hold weekly parent-teacher conferences. So it seems like the PTA is expecting a lot out of these teachers. They want them to do this weekly where they present information on their courses, and they want anytime the teacher is not presenting to parents, they want those teachers to be available for parent-teacher conferences. So that is expecting a lot of additional time from the teachers by the PTA. When was this occurring? I'm going to assume that it was before the beginning of the school year or approaching, because the initial conversation that the principal was going to have with the PTA was about back to school night. And then I added in the timeline as well that the committee did make a decision probably over the summer or the very beginning of the school year about those committees that they were going to create, and they did not tell myself, me acting as the principal. Where is this happening? It is not grade level specific. We don't know if it's elementary, middle, or high school, nor do we know what specific district the school is in, nor what state this school is in. So we are truly not aware of where this is occurring. And who is in this case study? Me, myself, as the principal, and the PTA group, and specifically out of the PTA group, the president, who is a young attorney. So after analyzing the case study, these are the legal issues that I noticed throughout the study. Number one, if we do act on what the PTA is presenting, it's going to violate teachers' contract hours. So the teachers that are doing this additional work each evening would need to be compensated for the additional hours that they are spending at the school so that we are not in violation of their contract. Second, if any actions are carried out by these committees that they have formed, it may violate FERPA, which is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. Some examples of this are parents going into the classrooms for observations on teachers. They might see some discipline, or if they are acting on discipline, they may have to discipline a child, which would also violate FERPA. The ethical issues that I saw within this case study are the teacher evaluations could be personal and not professional. So if a parent isn't a fan of a teacher, or maybe they really are a fan of the teacher, these can be misconstrued evaluations. Second, the curriculum. Parents don't truly know what they're looking for within a good curriculum to teach, so the effectiveness might not be high, and the level might not meet each grade level that it needs to. And just relating back, the disciplinary action, it's a conflict of interest depending on who is being disciplined. Synthesized in one sentence, the PTA has made the decision to gain more insight into their children's education by creating inappropriate committees, discipline, teacher performance, curriculum, and total school evaluations, in which they hope to monitor what is really going on in the classrooms. So breaking the facts down a little bit more, the people that would be affected or involved are the principal, of course, myself, the PTA group, directly, the PTA president directly, which is that young attorney, and indirectly it's going to affect whatever decision we make, all students, all teachers, and all parents. Again, relating back to place, we don't really know where this is all happening because it's not grade, district, school, or state specific, but we do know it's at the beginning of the school year as reference to back to school night. The program that we do know of in this case study is that the PTA is unaffiliated with the PTA on the national scale. So they are an unaffiliated PTA. After reviewing and prioritizing the information, the stakeholders that I found could be damaged have to do with these three categories: curriculum, discipline, and teacher evaluations. So first, again, the curriculum could be ineffective or inappropriate. Just not for the right grade level, not as challenging, it's not being effective in the classroom. So this directly hurts students. They might lose a lot of learning and knowledge if the curriculum is not appropriate. Second, discipline. The discipline could be unfair or inappropriate in punishment. And again, this is just a conflict of interest. Some teachers get reprimanded, some students get reprimanded, and that should be done by authority, not by the PTA. And finally, back to the teacher evaluations, personal versus professionals. Depending on how a person feels personally about a teacher, the teacher could keep their job or lose their job. The stakeholders that we still need to contact before making any type of decision is the superintendent and the Board of Education. That's if there is no information regarding the PTA rules and regulations in our handbook. Finally, can I learn more? Relating back, if I can find policies on the PTA to make a decision, that's wonderful. But if not, I'm going to have to speak with the superintendent and Board of Education to figure out a solution to this problem. Second, they didn't mention, but are these PTA women or men, are they willing to compromise on an option? Or are they, it's my way or the highway? We don't know how these parents are. And finally, something else to consider if we went through with this plan, budget issues. Is there money in the budget to compensate for teachers working over their contract hours? So I've come up with 3 solutions. Solution 1 is to take no action at all. And by this, I mean that the PTA continues with their proposed committees and changes. The pros of this solution are that the PTA, parents, are involved in the school functions and decision making. So there is that involvement piece from the parents. The cons of this, I meant to put that on the pros. Parents are happy. That's definitely a good thing, not a bad thing. The parents are happy though. However, a con is that the principal, me, might appear to look like a pushover. So now will everybody think that they're going to get whatever they want because these PTA parents did? And another con is that parents are going to eventually gain too much control that they probably will start to push me over and not worry about what I say, just go straight to the superintendent and Board of Education. Solution 2, find out PTA rules and halt the committees immediately. So I need to figure out what those PTA rules and regulations are, and no matter what, halt those committees from being formed. The pros of this, legal and ethical issues are handled, so we won't have any issues because those committees will be disbanded, and control is gained back by myself, the principal. The cons, however, might be that the PTA just disbands completely, so we do not have a parent-teacher association anymore. And moving forward, parents might not be as involved as they are with the PTA. They might not be involved at very little to not at all with anything from this point forward. And finally, solution 3, still finding out what those PTA rules and regulations are and compromise with the PTA. The pros of this, still the legal and ethical issues are handled because the committees being disbanded will have to be part of the compromise. but also the PTA feels understood by the school and by administration. The cons, there's still going to be some unhappy parents, and those unhappy parents will probably disband and become less involved in the school. So we're losing some parental involvement with this solution. So the best option is solution 3, compromising. Everybody gets a little bit of what they want and everybody is happy. So first, we would need to check, or I would need to check, the district handbook for PTA rules and regulations. Then I would need, if I didn't find any rules and regulations, I would need to speak with the superintendent or board of education. Finally, I would need to disband the inappropriate committees because I guarantee those are not in the rules and regulations, but at the same time also suggest other ways for PTA to be involved, especially during school hours. So the actual implementation of Solution 3, this is what I see it looking like. I would look through the handbook to locate information on PTA rules and regulations. If those rules and regulations could not be found, I would schedule a meeting with the superintendent and or the Board of Education. After that information has been found, I would schedule an impromptu PTA meeting, so I would do the scheduling, where I would make them aware of any rules and disband those inappropriate committees. Finally, I would suggest other ways that the PTA can be involved throughout school hours. What might happen, we've kind of talked about that with the cons. The PTA may disband completely, so just get rid of the association. They may do that on their own, and they may choose not to volunteer or partake in any other school events. And that's huge because we're losing parental involvement. Who needs to know? Of course, the superintendent and board of education if I cannot find the information, and obviously the PTA would have to know because that is the group that I'm compromising with. Can I deal on my own with people involved? So can I deal with these parents? I sure hope so. As the leader of my school, I should be able to deal with these parents on my own. I am the leader of the school, so I shouldn't be inferior to the PTA or the parents involved in the PTA. And finally, what if my solution does not work? Number one, if it wasn't to work and the PTA did not want to compromise, I would enforce that they regain their affiliation with the national PTA, just so they're following in line with those rules and regulations, and the national PTA can look over that. Second, if that wasn't an option, I would disband the PTA committee all by myself or by the district. So if I didn't have the power to disband the PTA association, I would have the district do it. So our standard correlation for this, it was NS 5.2. Program completers understand and demonstrate the capacity to collaboratively engage and cultivate relationships with diverse community members, partners, and other constituencies for the benefit of school improvement and student development. So I said that the correlation here, it correlates because we were asked to analyze a case regarding unethical behaviors with parents. And those parents donate their time to bettering our school system. And I really do think the parents were acting out of the kindness of their heart, but it was causing unintentional harm at the same time. The relevance that this has to my future is that I will face ethical dilemmas such as this in my future as a school leader. Parents are going to try to help often, however, I am still sure that sometimes it will be unintentionally unethical. So sometimes parents just don't understand. Finally, the reflection, after completing this module, it became apparent that I will face issues as a school leader that have benefits but are also unethical. These will be hard decisions to make, but it will be my job to make them. And that is my Module 12 case study. Thank you for watching.